Alright. Don't normally like to order from the Evil Empire, but it just happened this time. So I'm going to do a little unboxing of a couple of things today. A little bit odd choices for me, although maybe less odd these days. Oh, hey! They actually packed it with some real honest-to-goodness packing material instead of just having it loose like the last several things that I purchased. So that's something. So on the slightly what apparently is more normal for me these days side of things, grabbed Morgansport, the Western Lands campaign for Basic Fantasy. This, I can't remember now. I remember when I was reading into it, you could kind of tell that it was essentially the Basic Fantasy version of, I think it was Keep on the Borderland, but I can't remember, that it has a lot of similarities with that. And I've been looking at rating a lot of this type of material to fill in a larger sandbox game for our Dungeon Crawl Classics at some point along the way. And I just want to have more modules to draw on for that kind of thing. Following along with that, their version of Isle of Dread is Monkey Isle. Which, if you know Isle of Dread, it is very heavily based on King Kong. And so this one also appears to be somewhat in the same vein. So I got both of those to fill in just more general material for Dungeon Crawl Classics. And then finally, the weirder thing that I purchased is this disgusting fake blade with like a jawbone. And while this is not at all how it's described in the book, I'm going to use this as a prop for when I run The Haunting. As anybody who knows The Haunting knows that there is a weird blade in there, and so I've decided to use this as my version of the weird blade. I do like to have props and handouts, so I'm going to just be able to bring this out when the time comes and, put it on the table. So that's what I picked up today. Weird blade. This was super cheap on Amazon. I mean, it's just cheap plastic, but it's kind of gross, so I like that. I like the grossness of it. If I were still into painting at all, I would probably go back and repaint this to make the bone darker and the teeth more stained and stuff like that. That's me. But I'm not really into painting anymore. Also, get rid of these serial numbers and stuff like that. But I don't really paint anymore. I don't have the material, and I'm never going to get back into that. So, yep. Let's take a look inside. I didn't look inside. So, there is some black and white art. There's a map. See, there's a cool building map. 2-column spread. There's a lot of statistics, which I don't know how useful that'll be for me transferring over to Dungeon Crawl Classics, but, I do like this, when you're doing the statistics, having the boxes to fill in, like for hit points. That's actually something that I do when I am prepping scenarios. I'll do up the monster on, say, like a 3x5 card or what have you, and I will put boxes next to it to check off for when they take damage, just so I don't have to deal with that in the session. It's all set up and easy for me to handle. Little map, more maps, lots more stats. The stats are less interesting to me. So these are also very cheap. The stuff for Basic Fantasy, I know you can get them, I believe it's free as PDFs, but I don't really do PDFs, and I know, you could get it free and then print it out, but I think it was actually cheaper for me to buy it this way than it is, ooh, big old dungeon, than it is for me to print it out. These are like less than $4. So a lot of maps I can raid, if nothing else. But I suspect I'll be able to pull out some more fun material. I do like ape people. I always like that, you know, Planet of the Apes and all that. I just think they're a cool critter to have. You know, these remind me a lot of and it makes sense. These are made to be essentially given away, so they're not going to be chock full of full color art. The art reminds me of a lot of the stuff that was coming out in the 90s, 80s and 90s. You know, it's solid line art. You know, and that's great. Oh, cool. GM's map and a player's map of the island. I like the player's map because then it allows you to fill it out. And I suppose that also would give you the opportunity, if you didn't necessarily like this, but you like the framework, you could do this, and then have people explore, you know, do random stuff in there, or some variation of random in there if you wanted the island to be different. Lots of maps. Great. That's all useful. Maps are useful. Again, these were really inexpensive. Under $4 for each of them. A lot of material. And this blade was also very inexpensive. I believe also under $4. So, anyway, that's what I've got today. We'll see, hopefully, I mean, by the time this video goes up, honestly, I think I will have already run the haunting. So, hopefully, I'll know if it had gone well by then. So, take care.